Hello, this is TVP World. I'm Diana Skaya, and welcome to Break the Fake. The eternal Russian diplomatic dance, where espionage is just a misunderstanding and sabotage is merely a friendly exchange of fireworks. Now, Poland's latest move to limit the geographic wanderlust of Russian diplomats has, unsurprisingly, triggered an indignant response from Moscow. You see, after a series of, let's call them, unfortunate incidents involving alleged Russian sabotage, Poland decided that enough was enough. Now, they've not only withdrawn consent for the Russian consulate in Poznan to operate, but also restricted the Russian embassy staff to the confines of their assigned areas because, hey, why let Russian diplomats tour the Polish countryside if they're only interested in gathering intelligence? And of course, Radosław Sikorski, Poland's foreign minister, knows a thing or two about Russian games. Now, by pulling the plug on these diplomatic activities, he's essentially saying, hey, we see what you're doing, and no, you don't get to play tourist while plotting your next move. And how does Russia react? In classic form, by threatening painful retaliation through the ever-charming Maria Zakharova, the spokesperson for Russia's Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Apparently, Poland's logical measures to stop foreign meddling are now considered hostile steps. But who knew, right? One must marvel, though, at the double standards. While Polish authorities catch individuals red-handed planning to ignite strategic sites near Wrocław, Moscow is busy crying foul, insisting that any restrictions on their diplomats are just unjustified aggression. Yet somehow, in their version of reality, limiting the freedom of movement of suspected spies is worse than, say, sending agents down to burn infrastructure? It really is always fascinating how swiftly the Russian playbook flips from victimhood to veiled threats. You can almost hear Zakharova's exasperation. How dare Poland not let us conduct our peaceful operations in their country? But let's be real, who could have guessed that espionage and sabotage would eventually wear out their welcome? Now, the BRICS summit is where emerging powers gather to show the world that they're ready to rival the West. And then there's Putin marching with all the bravado of a man who believes he's still the dominant player on the global stage, only to stand there waiting. Xi Jinping, ever the maestro of subtle power plays, made sure to remind everyone there just who's calling the shots these days. Now, the image of Putin, the once mighty leader of Russia, standing and waiting like a student outside the principal's office, is perhaps the most fitting metaphor for Russia's current standing. And it's no secret that China's economic and political influence has been growing exponentially, and this little diplomatic oops moment in Kazan just made it painfully clear. Russia may still have nuclear weapons, but when it comes to global influence, they've taken a backseat to Beijing. This was more than just an awkward pause. It was a visual representation of Russia's increasing reliance on China. Now, what used to be a partnership of equals in the BRICS alliance is now looking more like a master-servant dynamic. If anyone needed a reminder of who's really in charge between these two, well, Xi's casual tardiness served that message on a silver platter. North Korea denying accusations. Now, it's like watching a rerun of a bad TV show where you already know the plot twist. So here we are again with Pyongyang firmly insisting that any talk of their soldiers fighting in Ukraine is nothing but baseless rumors. Of course, this denial is meant to protect the image of North Korea. Now, because clearly nothing screams legitimate international partner quite like a regime that's notorious for being one of the most isolated, totalitarian, and militarized in the world. But what's even better is their claim that these rumors aim to tarnish this legitimate, friendly, and partnership relations that they have with Russia. Oh yes, that heartwarming friendship based on mutual respect and apparently the occasional exchange of military hardware and maybe some troops. But sure, let's call it legitimate.
Корея стелу. Ага. союзник терпеть.
Meanwhile, reports from South Korean intelligence agencies suggest that North Korea might have already begun sending troops, around 12,000 of them, no less, to support Russia's war efforts. And let's not forget the videos surfacing online of North Korean soldiers allegedly spotted on the ground, conveniently denying their own existence as they march in formation. So North Korea's response boils down to the following. Nothing to see here, folks, while the rest of the world actually watches the footage and reads the intelligence reports with a raised eyebrow. Any discussion about territorial exchanges is an absurd provocation that only serves to divide the country and undermine our sovereignty. Russia will never give up a single inch of its territory, especially after the legitimate reunification of regions like Donetsk, Luhansk, Zaporizhia, and Kherson. This is what Vladimir Putin recently said. Now you can imagine Putin, with his usual swagger, emphasizing just how protecting Russian-speaking citizens is his priority, no matter what NATO or the West think. He might even throw in some ominous remarks about how any move towards Ukraine joining NATO would automatically turn Ukraine into a target.
Я не понимаю, когда вы говорите о размене территории, потому что те территории, за которые сражаются наши ребята на поле боя, это наши территории. Это Луганская Народная Республика, Донецкая Народная Республика, Запорожская области и Херсонская. Вот, это первое. Второе, нам без всяких сомнений, кроме этого, нужно решить вопрос с обеспечением долгосрочных интересов России в сфере безопасности. Если мы говорим о каких-то мирных процессах, то это не должны быть процессы, связанные с перемирием на неделю, на 2 или на год, для того, чтобы страны НАТО перевооружились и запаслись новым боезапасом. Нам нужны условия долгосрочного, устойчивого и прочного мира, обеспечивающие равную безопасность для всех участников этого непростого процесса. И вот именно к этому мы и должны стремиться. А то, что когда-то и кто-то говорил о необходимости нанести России стратегическое поражение, обеспечить победу над Россией на поле боя, они сами уже убедились в том, что это невозможно, это нереалистично. И поменяли свою точку зрения. Что ж, и правильно сделали. За это похвалю.
In essence, questions like this are a gift to the Kremlin's propaganda machine. It allows Putin to amplify his anti-NATO rhetoric and portray the West as a meddling force determined to dismantle Russia through territorial concessions and alleged aggression. It's classic Putin, always the defender of the motherland, even if it means annexing your neighbor's backyard. And that's all for this episode of Break the Fake here on TVP World. I'm Diana Skaya. Thanks for watching.